What's going on, everybody? My name is TAETRO, and today I'm going to be talking to you about my favorite mini MIDI keyboards. Let's check it out. Alright, first things first, if you enjoy live electronic music performances, tutorials, and free sound packs, click the subscribe button down below, and make sure you're also following me on all my other social media, including Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, because when I'm not posting here on YouTube, I'm posting content on all my other pages. Alright, let's get into it. Now you may be wondering why this is about mini MIDI keyboards and not the full-size ones. Well, I just really like mini MIDI keyboards because they pack a lot into a very small package. Most of them have pads, knobs, and you can do a lot with a little with these controllers. And I like to keep my setup simple. I also like to be able to travel with my gear, and most of these controllers can fit comfortably in a backpack. So you may be wondering, what's the key step doing on the list? Well, if you look at the key step, you can automatically tell that it's bigger than all the other keyboards because it has 32 keys versus the usual 25 for a mini MIDI keyboard. But the one thing that this does differently than the other keyboards is it has MIDI in and out, which means that I can hook it up to external gear like my Novation circuit and control the circuit with the key step. That's something that these other controllers can't do unless you hook up to a laptop. The build quality is also super solid on this keyboard, but if you're looking for something smaller, I'd recommend this keyboard's cousin, the Arturia Mini Lab. Now this is the heaviest of the mini MIDI keyboards, and it's also slightly larger, but in terms of build quality, this is the best controller in the set. Because it has a little bit of added weight, it feels more solid and the construction feels higher quality. Also, the keys feel a little bit heavier to the touch, which gives you a closer experience to an actual piano, even though these are all mini keyboards. You can see a little bit of a difference in the construction, where on the Mini Lab, the keys aren't really hollow, they kind of come all the way out for the full length of the key, where on the other keyboards, there's nothing on the end at the edges. And I think that this is what gives the Mini Lab the best feel out of all these controllers. Also, the touch strips are a great alternative to pitch bend and mod wheels. You've got one dedicated touch strip for pitch bend, and another dedicated touch strip for mod. And I really like the way that these touch strips feel because you get the same type of expression but without the bulkiness of a mod wheel or a joystick. The Mini Lab also has more knobs than any of the controllers that we're going to be looking at today. There's full 16 knobs, and 2 of these knobs also are buttons. Now the Mini Lab, just like most of these controllers, can sync with most popular DAWs, but this one even has a specific Ableton Live script where you can launch, record, and stop clips right from the pads. But if you're looking for the best Ableton MIDI keyboard, I've got another option. The Novation launch key was basically designed with Ableton in mind. This is the best on the list for Ableton Live producers and performers. Why? Because these 16 pads can be used for not only drums, but they can also be used to record, launch, and stop clips. And you can do both of those things at the switch of a button. One mode gives you control over Ableton Live Session View, the other mode gives you a full drum rack. Not only that, but you've got track navigation arrows, which helps you scroll through different instruments in your project, arming them as you go. And scene selection arrows, so you can scroll up and down your project. This controller will definitely keep you making music and doing less tinkering with your computer. That's what I like most about the launch key. But maybe you don't use Ableton, maybe you use a number of different DAWs, maybe you're a mobile musician, maybe all of that workflow stuff just isn't as important to you. Well, maybe you should take a look at the Akai MPK Mini. Now, the MPK Mini has all the bells and whistles. It's got a sustain port on the back, 8 large MPC size pads. They're a bit bigger than the launch key, and you also have a bank select, so you can select between banks A and bank B for your pads. It also has a built-in arpeggiator with a tap tempo, the ability to send program changes and do CC mapping for the pads, a note repeat switch, and also this really cool joystick. Now the joystick basically functions as mod wheel and pitch bend, but all in one, where you have an X and a Y axis. You can also map this to an X and Y pad in your DAW. So for most people, this keyboard's got all the bells and whistles that you need across any software. But maybe you're not looking for bells and whistles, maybe you're looking for simplicity, portability, and expression. I've got one last keyboard for you. The Seaboard block by Rowley. Now this keyboard is the smallest out of any of the keyboards that I've showed you, and it also feels very different from all the other keyboards you've seen. Instead of having plastic keys, it's got a silicone membrane that you kind of are pushing into. The rubbery feel makes it easy to sink into notes and use that added multi-polyphonic expression offered by the controller. That means you can have an aftertouch effect, you can slide up and down the controller, and also bending pitch above or below the keys is as easy as swiping your finger. This will help you record more lifelike strings or just give an added depth to your compositions. Usually if you were using another controller, you would have to go in post and try to automate all these parameters. With the Seaboard block, you can do it all by touch. And not only is it the most portable in size, but it's also the most portable in the fact that you only need the Seaboard block to play music. You need no cables. It's Bluetooth enabled. Not only will it Bluetooth connect to your computer, but it'll also Bluetooth connect to your phone or tablet. So now that I've given you kind of an overview, let me tell you which one is my personal favorite at the moment. Now, if I was stuck on a desert island and I could only choose one of these controllers, I would choose the launch key because the Ableton workflow is really important to me. Being able to launch clips and play drums and navigate around my project all from this MIDI keyboard is super convenient and just fosters creativity. But I'm not stuck on a desert island, so which one is just my favorite right now? The Seaboard block is my favorite controller right now. And even though it's the most expensive of the bunch, the portability and the ability to go wireless put it ahead of a lot of these other keyboards for me. Also, most people try to cut costs by getting a keyboard that only has keys, and they'll argue that you can play drums on keys just fine. And you can definitely get away with it. They're velocity sensitive, so there's no problem. But it is a little bit different playing on a keyboard versus bouncing off of a pad. And on the Seaboard block, because of the different style of keys, it's closer to a pad than a key. And I don't find that there's a lot of sacrifice in playing keyboard instruments on it, but I also feel that there's a bonus of playing drums on it feels natural because you're bouncing off of a membrane similar to normal drums. This is just so convenient to throw in my bag and go. I also have some of the other Rowley blocks, as you all know, and they connect via the DNA connectors, and I can just be up and running with a wireless setup in very little time with the Seaboard block. So that's my personal favorite. What is your favorite of the keyboards I just talked about? Did I miss a big one? I know a lot of people suggest Alesis or M-Audio keyboards. I've used M-Audio in the past and I never was really impressed with some of their keyboards, and I've never really had my hands on an Alesis keyboard, so this is just my favorite selection from what I have. If you think that there's something better out there, please let me know in a comment below. If you found this video helpful or if you just enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe for more live electronic music performances, tutorials, and free sound packs. This has been TAETRO, your electronic music mentor. Have a good one.